Hey, what is up guys? DRC3 here, back with another My Hero Ultra Impact video, and today we're going to be showcasing the brand new free-to-play SR Holiday Threads Tenya Iida. This guy is a really interesting free-to-play SR. As you can see, I have him level 120, so I have his Peace route and his DX route completely done. As for the memory we're running on him, we are running the brand new UR Badminton Tournament memory. That memory gives him an increase of 35% speed, and then every turn thereafter for the next 3 turns, an increase of 5% speed on top of that. So the idea behind this memory and the idea behind the character is that as his speed is increased, his skill impact is increased. It's kind of similar to Hawks if you've ever looked at the Blue Hawks. So this Iida is really interesting as an SR character, and he's actually going to hopefully be able to hit really hard as an SR character. So let's take a look at his kit and his stats. So as for his advanced leveling, I don't have any of it done because I'm still working on other UR characters. UR characters first, SR characters second, because UR characters can typically be used in both PvE and PvP content, whereas SR characters are generally only used for PvE content. What type of PvE content are we using Iida in? Particularly, more than likely, he's going to be used in VE Tower more than anything else. He can be used in case files. Pretty much any character can be used in case files. You can use rare characters in case files and clear the case files. Case files are not that hard. Climax battle, you're probably not going to use this guy. You could attempt it if you really wanted to. If you really like to struggle and go through pain, you could probably make it work. But in general, VE Tower is what you're going to be using this character for. So what are we looking for when we look at an SR character who we're going to be using in VE Tower? We are looking for crits, we are looking for status ailments, we are looking for technicals, we are looking for plus ultra gauge raise, and we are looking for low cooldowns to make the character decent. So let's take a look at his kit. He has one of the more interesting free-to-play character kits I've seen in a while. I mean, just look at his plus ultra move. There's so much text there. It's actually really long for an SR character. His plus ultra move is called Somersault Kick. It deals 400% damage to a single opponent. Skill impact is increased relative to character speed. You will see that on both of his action skills as well, and that's why we have the memory. Skill impact is increased according to his speed. So the more speed we give him, the more damage he's going to do. Gives character the ability to use 2 normal attacks for 3 turns when speed is increased. This is also important because he has an action skill below that does the same thing. And so basically this is the first Iida, or really the first character, that's consistently pretty much almost always going to have 2 normal attacks, which is really interesting. I'll talk about why that's interesting here in a little bit. His next part of his plus ultra also shortens character's action skill cooldown time by 1 when character has the ability to evade. This is interesting because if he has evasion, basically he'll lower your action skill cooldown time, which is good, but both of his action skills give you evasion. But let's say he gets normal attacked before going into your plus ultra turn, your evasion is going to be gone and you're not going to get that action skill cooldown time. So I see that being a bit tricky to kind of get to play out the right way or the way you want it to, unless you have another character drawing aggro or something. So that's a little bit of an interesting thing there. And trust me, that action skill cooldown time would be much appreciated considering he has a 5-turn and a 6-turn cooldown. So typically when we're looking at cooldowns, you want a 4-turn or less cooldown for the VE Tower run to be optimal. 5 turns, you can make it work. 6 turns is not great. You could make it work if you really had to. So just keep that in mind. The fact that this guy already has a 6-turn cooldown makes him harder to use for VE Tower than a lot of other characters, a lot of other options. But if you are able to get that cooldown, it makes it 5 turns and 4 turns, so it's not quite so bad. His first action skill is called Reciprocal Burst. It deals 250% damage to a single opponent. Once again, we have this text here. Skill impact is increased relative to character speed. Increases character skill impact by 30% when speed is increased. So he's getting a bunch of increased skill impact on this action skill right here. He's getting it twice, and then also gives the character ability to evade 1 time. So there's the evasion. His second action skill is called Fortune Shot. It deals 275% damage to a single opponent. Skill impact is increased relative to character speed. So there's that text again. Gives character the ability to evade 1 time, also gives character the ability to use 2 normal attacks for 3 turns when used in a successfully executed skill chain. So there is the 2 normal attacks again. So he's getting the 2 normal attacks from this action skill. He's also getting it from his plus ultra, meaning he is always pretty much going to have 2 normal attacks. And while he doesn't really raise his crit rate or do status ailments, the fact that he has 2 normal attacks each turn means you have that many more chances to land a crit. So it's kind of almost like he raises your crit rate in a way, sort of. Okay, so that is actually pretty decent. And then on top of that, both of these action skills right here are technical hits. So the fact that he has 2 technical hits makes him fairly decent for VE Tower. So he has kind of like an increased crit rate, and then he also has technical hits, which is really nice. So that is ideal for VE Tower. The only downside really to him so far is his cooldowns of 6 and 5, but like I said, those can be lowered with his plus ultra if you happen to have evasion. His first auto skill is called Fight Fair. It increases the speed of all allies by 20% for 5 turns when the battle starts. So not only are we getting the 35% from our memory, and then an additional 5% per turn from our memory, we're getting this 20% right here, which is just going to make him hit like a truck, and then also increases character's power by 15% when character has the ability to evade. So this character could be really interesting with like the Hawks characters who also increase their damage with their speed. Like you could probably have a really fast team that hits really hard with this character on your team. It'd be interesting to see how that ended up working out. And then for his second action skill, Path of a Hero, increases character's skill impact by 30%. One character has the ability to use 2 normal attacks. Well, he's pretty much always going to have the ability to use 2 normal attacks. So that's just more skill impact damage from his action skills added on to what you already have from the speed. Like this is not a light hitting SR character. This is actually insane. Once per battle, increases character speed by 70% for 3 turns when HP is below 30%. So if this guy ever drops below 30% health, he's probably going to be hitting. This is a character, this is an SR, I can probably say with confidence if you hit a crit, he could hit 99,999 damage pretty consistently with his action skills. That'd be my guess. But, you know, it would take a lot of effort and moving things around and actually trying to get down to that 30% to try it out and see how it works. Let's go ahead and take a look at his ability boards, and I'll show you guys where I am with his ability board. So for his basic board, I am on board 10. I don't have any of his skill improvements yet. For his Peace route and his DX route, those are all the way done, and you can do those free to play. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure you are doing the Hero Lottery Exchange to grind out his pieces for free. So with all that said, we are running him alongside Fantasy Todoroki and Red Hawks because they have decent cooldowns, and Fantasy Todoroki increases crit since I want to run a speed memory on Iida. So let's go ahead and jump in. As we get into this here, I will explain our action skills as we go through them. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to do Todoroki's Ice Fog, which increases our crit. Then we're going to do the Fierce Wings, which will decrease the defense of Stain. And then we are going to do, not this one here, Reciprocal Burst is a good move, but I just want to show you guys it is a technical. We are going to do his second action skill first, because this skill is going to give him the ability to evade, just like the first action skill, but it's also going to give him 2 normal attacks for 3 turns when it's used in a successfully executed skill chain, which is another technical hit. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. And this team right here is probably not going to clear it within like the 6 turns that you would normally want to clear. But the point of this is to see how much damage and how many technicals we can really get done with Iida. As you can see, he just hit for 15,000 right there at the start. Now his speed should be increased further from the memory, another 5%. So let's see how much speed up he has right now. He has 20% speed up right there. There should be another speed up down here, another 5% for 2 turns, and another 5% down there for 3 turns. So he's getting, and there should be like a 35% up here at the top. I'm missing somewhere, I believe. Yeah, 40%. Okay, so let's add this up. 40% plus the 20% right there is 60% speed up, plus the other 5 is 65, plus the other 5 is 70. So he has a 70% speed up right now. Let's see how much damage he can do. Let's go ahead and do Todoroki first. That way if we freeze Stain, we get a automatic crit with Iida, and then we'll go with Hawks last. Got the freeze. 21,000 damage. He actually out-damaged Todoroki right there. Hawks did out-damage Iida, but that's okay. Iida is hitting for almost 5,000 with his normal skills, which is really good. Let's take a look at Iida's speed again and add it up. We should have had it increased even more. Basically, the more you can increase his speed, though, the harder he's going to hit. I'm excited to see how hard his plus ultra hits, and we'll have to just see how it does. All right, so speed up by 40% right there. And then if we scroll down, another speed up by 20%, which is 60%. and 65% and 70% and 75% speed. So he does have the extra 5% speed. As you can see, we do not have evasion coming into this turn. So that is a little bit of a problem because that means we're not going to get the plus ultra action skill cooldown ability or effect. So just keep that in mind. So that means our action skills are going to take longer to come back than they would if we had the evasion, which is just kind of one of the funky things about this Iida that takes him from being potentially really, really good to being kind of mid, because he could make or break your runs. He's going to be a very niche character, however you say it, depending on what type of team you're running and what you're looking for in VE Tower. Let's go ahead and go through our plus ultras, and we'll see his plus ultra animation right here. It's not super great compared to the other Holiday Threads characters, obviously because he is free to play and not a UR, but it's who am I kidding? They didn't put a lot of effort into it, but let's watch it anyways. Yeah, it's pretty similar. 28,000. I mean, it's not anything super spectacular for damage. He is not type advantage like this Todoroki, but that was still decent. Honestly, I'm not disappointed with his damage. For an SR character to be hitting almost 30,000 on a plus ultra turn 3, that's honestly decent. If you have more ways to raise the speed, maybe you get a better EX skill, stuff like that, you could raise the speed even more and do even more damage. So he could be an interesting character. I think once again he'd be an interesting character to run with other Hawks, but I don't really know if they add an global anniversary is coming up, right? If they add some other end game content where you have to build like specific teams, like a speed team or a defense team or stuff like that, that would be sick, because then this character all of a sudden has a lot of uses, because you could use him to increase your team's speed and run him with Hawks and stuff like that. So he could have his uses in the future, but for right now, I think he's going to be very niche for certain V towers and where you can use him. All right, so let's go ahead and go through this turn here. We're not going to use any action skills. We're probably actually going to lose our Hawks if he decides to attack him. Oh man, that's crazy. Let's go ahead and give our Hawks a barrier and see if we can keep them alive for a minute. We got the frostbite and the crits. And he really wants Hawks. He really wanted Hawks. Alright, and as you can see, we still do not have the action skills out for Iida, so there's just a prime example of his action skill cooldown times being dookie. Like, other than that, he could be really, really good. Alright, we'll go ahead and do these two action skills. And for that one turn right there, we did not have additional attacks. Every other turn we've had additional attacks. So if we had the cooldown time on his action skills, we would actually have additional attacks every single turn, which is kind of nutty. 21,000 damage. As you can see, his damage fell off because we are past turn 5, where he gives the 20% speed boost to all allies. And he's killing Hawks right there. Of course he is. And then we'll just go ahead and finish this up. Let's see how much damage he does now that he basically has fallen off in speed. 27,000 is actually still not terrible, considering his speed has fallen off quite a bit. So even with losing that 20% speed buff that happens after turn 5, Iida is still able to hit fairly hard. The outro animation, though, looks amazing. I mean, look at that fan. I do like his costume. I like his character. I feel like they did him kind of dirty on his kit, but he is a free-to-play character. I feel like they often do the free-to-play characters a little more dirty than they do the summonable SR characters, because obviously they want you to pull on these summonable SR characters. So my overall opinion of this Iida, I think he can be good in the right situation. You might have trouble finding that right situation, at least until the global anniversary, where hopefully they bring us some new content that requires like specific teams, like speed teams, defense teams, stuff like that, which would be awesome. I think that'll really bring this game to life, like even more than it has been. I think it's been growing. I think it's gotten bigger, but I think they have so much potential with this game. And so Iida might be like a precursor or an arrow pointing to the game's direction in the future. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please go down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and thank you guys for watching. Peace.